Hey guys, in this video I will show you the best Cypher tips and tricks to use when you are playing right here on paddle, and we will start with tripwires on A side. So first of all, there are these tripwires which you can use. You can place them on this wall and it should protect you from enemies to push in and get you the first info that you might need. Another tripwire that can be very useful to use, and I think it's the best one of these to use on A, since usually enemies would be already pushing and would not expect this one. You can always place one on stairs like these, but these tripwires are better to do since they are harder to predict and it's harder to break as well. And then there are these two tripwires. First, like this one, you wanna use this if you know that the enemies are planting, they are pushing. You can be playing safely in secret, and when the tripwire goes off, you can very simply wallbang the enemies. Or another one, very simple, like this one. Just do it on the corner of this thing right here, just like that, and it's gonna work the same way. Just once again, you can wallbang anyone who would be pushed up on site. You can place tripwires here as well, just on this ceiling if you want to. It's really up to you, and it can work as well if you know that the enemies are planting in this corner. You can do something, for example, like this. It's hard to catch enemies there, but if you do catch them, they are usually tripped out and don't break it so fast. To use cages here, I simply use this one right here on stairs, or I do one a bit further in the back so I can wallbang enemies and get some cover for it. So either I just simply wall it off, the enemies get caught and you can peek it, or if I know that the enemies are already closer, I use this cage, and if I spot someone, you can simply wallbang the enemies who are right here on site. There's plenty of camera spots which you can use. For example, very simply is this one on the wall, on the roof there, just like that. Is the most simplest one. You can do one a bit further like this, so that it would be harder to spot and break like this and still gets you a lot of info. Or you can do cameras that are a bit more aggressive, for example this one, just like that, and you can see into this A main. And if you do it a bit lower, I did it a bit higher this time, just like this, you will see under the umbrella, and you will see on the whole all the way in the A main on the orb as well. And you can also get some info on the side if the enemies are pushed up, and the camera is pretty much covered pretty well, so it would be hard to break and spot. Or you can very simply do a very safe camera if you want to be really defensive Cypher. You can just place it on the walls right here, for example here, and wait for enemies to come into the site. You don't want to be using much of your utility into spots like art or dealing, but still, if you want to and you don't want to have your teammates here, you can do very simple tripwire like this. Just make sure so that the enemies cannot jump over it or crouch under it. So doing a simple tripwire like this will work perfectly in this spot. Right here on B-Link, you can always do simple tripwires using these crates or very simply these buckets. So that way it is a bit more unpredictable and they are in harder spots. But if you do tripwire like this, you should have in mind that you are giving enemies space and they can peek all the way here without getting spotted. So you can also do something like this into the doors, and it should work fine. Now let's move on to A side. There is few tripwires which you can use. Of course, you can do trips like these, which are super easy to do, but they are also predictable and don't get you that much info. So doing tripwires like these which are unpredictable, and as you can see, the enemies can get stuck here and then you can try to pick them from elbow. Or you can do tripwires like these as well, using this tube, for example, if you know that they are planted on this default spot right here and they will be caught. Of course, I would recommend you tripwiring off this spot elbow every time, so that there's no one trying to catch you off guard from the flank. So yeah, and for this specific tripwire, you can do a simple one-way cage lineup, just like this. You wanna hug this wall, look up, and there is gonna be this roof and this window, and you just simply bounce it off of this spot right here, like that. It's pretty easy to do. You don't have to aim at a very specific spot. Some of the cages you miss, but you can always pick them up at the beginning of the round. And if you catch someone in this tripwire, you just simply activate the cage and you peek it. The enemies will be confused and trying to break the tripwire, and you can always get a free kill on the guy right here. There's plenty of ways how to use cameras as well. One of the best ones I find is this one. Just simply place your camera right here and you can be watching onto B main or into B link very simply. You can be using also your cam very simply on the roof right here if you want to play more passive. Or you can do a cam on this tree right here. Like this. And then you can be watching also all the way to B ramp, or you can be waiting for enemies to come. You can do it also here if you want to be more passive and you don't want to risk that your camera will be broken from long. And just be waiting for enemies, then you will tag them when they are coming closer. So yeah, that's about this video, guys. Hopefully this video is gonna be helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and see you guys soon. Bye.